Hey guys, Glenn here, and I'd like to take some time and show you my current hammock setup. So right now I have the bug net on here, and it's called the Guardian. It comes in this little bag, it all stuffed together. I think this thing weighs about 9 to 10 ounces. I'm not 100% sure, but it's kind of heavy. Nice thing I like about it is it's not connected to the hammock, which allows you to get inside of it, really. Let your legs hang on the sides. You can lay your shoes or your boots underneath. So I like this setup a lot better than the attached hammock bug nets, because it's not connected to the hammock. I tend to see them tear a lot. And there's also something on this setup that you can't use with a hammock that has the net connected, because it'll tear the hammock. So this hammock net hangs on the ridge line that goes above the hammock. That also would be the ridge that you would have your tarp on too, so it's completely independent. So I'm going to take that loose, and it has gathers on each end, so it's actually a lot longer than this hammock, so you can use it on quite a few hammocks. And what it does is it just slides over top the hammock. So you can pull it through either end, leave it on the hammock in the summer, whatever. But then you're back to your regular hammock for cooler weather, no bugs, whatever. But then if you notice here, there's another ridge. And this is kind of what we want to talk about a little bit. This is a ridge. It looks like paracord, but it's actually a braided utility cord that's non-stretch, because you want to use a non-stretch type cord for this. If you notice, it's at the end of the gathers of the hammock, both sides. Now I like this ridge inside the bug net, because then I can still hang, you know, my boots, or put my headlamp around it, or hang my lantern, or whatever, you know, whatever you want to hang. You still have that opportunity, versus this one above. But the thing about this is setting the sag in the hammock. Without that, you have your hammock pulled out on your suspension only, and this will maintain this sag. And it gives you a lot more material in the hammock, so you got a lot more opportunity to move around, roll around, sleep on your side, better angle, and it makes the hammock 10 times better than without it. So like when you get in it and you got your ridge set about right, it's going to be just above your head, 3-4 inches above your head. And I like to set it so I'm close to the ground, so I can put my feet down and get up. You can also hold on to it if you need to get in or out. But that makes the hammock much more comfortable than without it. So the rule of thumb basically for these is you make this ridge 83% the length of the hammock. So I went about 80%, and then you fine tune it from there. So my hammock's 9 feet. So this is 7 feet 6 inches long. It's just an overhand loop that the ridge is fed through on this end. And then down here, it's tied off. So you can adjust this depending if you want more or less sag, but 80% is a good starting point, and then you can fine tune it from there. So that's that part. Then my suspension I've changed completely.
Something I wanted to add is, when you look at the hammock, it looks like a smiley face. But if you don't have the ridge line, it's like really tight. So
yeah, it makes a big difference. So I've gone to Whoopie Slings from my Atlas slings, and these are good slings. You know, if you're worried about something this small breaking, this is actually the suspension. But my tree strap, I used to use these. These are just too heavy. That's all there is to it. It's a good strap. You know, you got a loop every about 3.5, 4 inches. So you have a lot of adjustability. So with the Whoopie Slings, you simply don't need it. So these weigh about 6 ounces a piece. My entire suspension system, the Whoopie Slings, the tree straps, the tubes that I use to put through the marlin spikes, all weighs just under 3 ounces for both sides. So I've shaved off a lot of weight. So let's take a look at what we got here. These are Whoopie Slings. There's one on each end. And if you notice, I don't have the factory cord that goes through the sewn in tube on the end. So normally these kind of hammocks, these gathered parachute style hammocks, have a cord through the end and a S-hook on it, so you can hook it onto whatever you're using for straps. I've taken both of those off, and the Whoopie Sling is actually double wound through the tube because it has a loop on that end. Sorry I can't show you that, but it's all in there, and that stays attached to this hammock. It never comes off. That took 6 ounces off of my hammock weight right there, just doing that. So the Whoopie Sling, as I mentioned, it has a loop on this end, which I've gone through the tube twice, put the loop out, and fed the Whoopie Sling back through that loop to tighten up there. This is a tubular braided AM steel cord. Has a 1,500 pound brake strength. So this hammock is going to tear long before this little tiny cord breaks, which is no bigger around, probably a little less. It's 7/64 than paracord. But being it's tubular, as you can see, this piece is coming out of there. So this is a constrictor part of the Whoopie Sling. And I've got red magic marker on here because if I'm pulling real tight to the tree, I don't want that loop to go back through because it'll come completely out. Now I have to redo the sling. So if you see, I got 2 wooden beads on here, and what that's for is the sling just hooks on to the tree strap like that. And when you do this, you want to hook on the knot, not on your toggle. So if I'm spread out farther and this loop is pretty big, I'll just slide these guys up there. That keeps that tight. Now for tree straps, you're probably looking and saying, "Gee, Glenn, that ain't a whole lot there. You're coming down." This is 1/2 inch. It's not even quite 1/2 inch pool tape. It's mule tape. What electricians use this to pull wire through pipe. This has printed right on it 1,250 pound brake strength or pull strength. This is not going to break again. This will break long after, some friends leaving, long after this hammock rips. You know, the hammock's gone before any of this breaks. So with the Whoopie Sling, it just hooks on there. Now I'll show you how to adjust that. If you want this end to go tighter, you hold the constrictor and you just slide it up. And that's as easy as it adjusts. You don't have to do anything else. There's no way that thing's coming loose. Now if I want to loosen it up, which I do now, I'd go from this end. Now, let's see if I can get this off of here. I'll show you. It just slides right through. Once that constrictor is spread out and there's tension put on it, this loop's not going to move. So this is a very easy system to use. Its adjustability beats pretty much anything that's out there. You can use straps with the clips on them, but for the weight, 2 of these weigh like less than 2 ounces. So we'll set this down over here and we'll take a look at the tree strap, what we got going on here. Again, this is just mule tape. This right here I used to always use sticks. I just pick up a stick off the ground and use it, and then I got this little idea from George. This is just a piece of arrow shaft, carbon fiber arrow shaft cut down with a tubing cutter like you'd use for copper pipe, and then I just got the burr off of it. So I carry a few of these 3-inch ones. So what you want to do is kind of figure out where you're going to be, make a marlin spike, put your toggle in there, pull it tight, and that's what you hook your whoopie sling on the knot. Have it run over top of the knot. So I can show you with this. You want it hooking on the knot like that. If you hook it on the toggle, chances are it could come loose, but if you pull that little bead up on the loop of the whoopie sling, you're fine. Now all I did with this, I've gone around the tree twice, and it doesn't move. So this is just, I have a bunch of mule tape, so I just cut it, burnt the ends, and then I put like 3 overhand knots on the end and made a loop. So these 2 pieces of mule tape for tree slings, or tree straps, and my whoopie slings together, 3 ounces. That's it. So taking a lot of weight off of my suspension doing that. That's pretty much it. The ridge is just a normal ridge done with a trucker's hitch, and that was put up last night just so I could use my bug net, but it would double as the ridge for my tarp as well. So give them whoopie slings a try. That's my favorite now way of hanging up the hammock, but definitely try that ridge. If you have this type of hammock, do the ridge. 80% of the full length of the hammock stretched out, and it will set that sag, and you will notice a major difference in the way the hammock is for comfort. Do not use that ridge if your screen or your bug net is attached to the hammock, because it's going to tear. Or if you have a hammock that has multiple cords coming out of the end of it, you can't use the ridge because the hammock will flip you clean out of it real fast. So it works just for these parachute style ones with the gather tube on the end. But give it a try. I think you'll like it. That's made a major difference for me in the comfort of the hammock. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you later, and give those things a try. Knock some weight off your setup.